It feels like the first week of the rest of our football team. A couple things have happened. One is that people continue to be enthusiastic about D'Amico Ryans, and yet people also are freaking the hell out about every random thing, which I like because it means that people care instead of people being apathetic about stuff. I myself have felt the juices stir in a way that they haven't stirred since maybe puberty. So I feel good about it. The big thing, obviously, this week has been the fact that CJ Stroud was running with the twos on the first day of OTAs and that a lot of people were flipping out about it. And I'm cool with that because, like, I myself thought that it would probably be best just to slide CJ in right from the get go. He's number 2 overall pick. Just get it started right from the beginning. The more I thought about it, and I went back and revisited some Bobby Slowick audio and an interview from last year. This has been the plan all along. I think that's the important thing to remember. This is not like it's a indication that CJ is not far enough along in the process. He's been in the building like 2 weeks. So this has nothing to do with what CJ has shown in meetings or anything. And I feel like some people may have gotten that impression. This is all part of a plan. And Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator, alluded to this in an interview he did last year about Trey Lance. So I'm going to go back and forth a little bit with some CJ Stroud interviews and some Bobby Slowick interviews. And I'm going to show you how it's all meshing together right now. And there's nothing to freak out about yet. Not that there ever will be, but if there ever is something to freak out about, it won't present itself until training camp at least, if not autumn. Here's CJ Stroud describing the coaching situation.
And Gerard have done a great job. Coach Slow is a great young mind. He's an amazing play caller. So I'm super excited to work with him and Gerard. Of course, I've worked with him before.
Okay, so we really don't know how good a play caller Slowick is. I appreciate CJ saying that in the vote of confidence, but he is very intimately acquainted with bringing young rookies along into a 49ers offense. Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, these last couple of years, they've had to do this while also working with a veteran quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. So as a refresher, and some of you may have seen this when I played it earlier this year, this is Bobby Slowick last year talking about the process of bringing Trey Lance and Brock Purdy and any other young quarterback along in this Coop Shanastani system.
Had a pretty consistent way we kind of go about installing our offense and the process we go about doing it and the reasons we do it. And it's the same this year as it's been in the past. And it is not easy in the beginning.
Two key things there. It's the same way this year as it's been in the past. This was in 2022 in the summer, obviously. And it's not easy. I think that the thing that hopefully sets apart a young quarterback learning this system versus, say, Bill O'Brien teaching Deshaun Watson that system is that they've done this over and over again. This is multiple years where the concepts change, but a lot of the core principles are the same in this Coop Shanastani offense. And they've developed a way of bringing guys along kind of brick by brick, like a syllabus almost. And you got to go through chapter 1, then chapter 2, then chapter 3, then chapter 4. But you build this knowledge base and this comfort within the offense that as guys progress through it, they get more and more comfortable in it. This is CJ Stroud talking about learning that process.
I feel like I've tried to do a lot of work on my own, so when I come back the next day, that I have that put in the bank to be able to move on to the next install, whatever it is. So
it's like learning physics or something. I guess math maybe would be the best one, because you've got to learn how to do one set of principles, then you can build on to the next, then build on to the next. You can't skip any chapters or you're just a mess. So that is the nice thing about this system. I think sometimes people feel like it might cap guys at a certain level because it can be rigid, but for young guys, or in the case of Sage Rosenfels, who's going to be on the channel here sometime in the next couple of weeks for multiple reasons. One, because he knows the system. Two, because he went to Iowa State, and Xavier Hutchinson obviously was played in a very similar system to this. So we'll have Sage Rosenfels on, but Sage played his best in this system, partly because it just gives you all the answers. So as long as you study the book and as long as you know the offense, it gives you the answers. And a lot of the things that young quarterbacks struggle with, they don't have to struggle with if they just paint by numbers. And later on, you can blossom into a beautiful flower or something and find some independence within the offense. But for right now, in these first couple of years, kind of the same way Brock Purdy was able to do last year, you hope that CJ keeps doing what he's doing, is just learn this.
You have to start with the foundation and really build them to, okay, now here's the next step, here's the next step, here's the next step. Now it's all together.
Bobby said it much better and more succinctly than I did, obviously. A couple more things about this specific topic. CJ was asked about preparing for the starting role or competing for the starting role. I think CJ gave the right answer.
For me, I'm just trying to get better. It's not about being with the ones, not about being with the twos. It's about getting better. This is what the spring is for, just learning the plays, getting the timing down, learning my receivers, learning Woods, learning Tank, learn how Nico runs his route, learn how Johnny runs his routes, how Dalton, just anybody I can learn from, and that's what I've been on. It's not about ones and twos right now. It's about just getting better as a whole, so we're getting ready for training camp.
I think that's the key. As far as whether he's running with the ones or running with the twos, he's going to be throwing to those receivers that we're talking about. And in terms of learning the offense and running it at a faster speed or conducting it, there is something to be said for you got to get some practice experience and get these notches on your belt before you take that next step over even Davis Mills. No matter how you feel about him, he's got more experience doing that, but it's very remedial at this point, and it would be for any quarterback. Think about Trey Lance. When Bobby Slowick was talking about that 11 months ago now, that was with Trey Lance, who is going into his second year. So it's not like this is a big mystery or something in terms of how they're handling CJ Stroud right now. They're just doing it the way they've done with a lot of different quarterbacks.
It takes time to train how to play in rhythm, how to feel the pocket, how to stay aggressive, how to know when the right time is to let stuff rip and when the right time is to check the ball down.
All that stuff in terms of timing, being comfortable in the pocket, understanding exactly what it looks like when you can let it rip, all that stuff. I feel good about CJ Stroud picking that stuff up. It's just a matter of getting reps. Twin 98, this is exactly what I'm addressing. Like, you don't draft a quarterback at 2 and not start him. Right. It's May. There's nothing. I don't understand. I honestly, for the life of me, I don't understand why somebody would freak out in May about where CJ Stroud is on the depth chart. It genuinely doesn't matter. So I'm not worried about it one bit. Robert Woods weighed in on this. He was asked just about working with the young quarterbacks and coaches right now.
Yeah, just pick their brain. I'm trying to be in there and know what they expect from a quarterback perspective, and then what they want from a receiver, and being able to have some extra time and kind of just relay messages of what I expect in the route and what I'm thinking from the quarterback and defense perspective, where we both expecting the ball and being able to like steal a rep on the film and be able to go out there and make kind of life in person. It's really just finding ways to get extra reps in the meeting room without taxing our bodies.
Okay, a couple of key points there. One thing he said, talked about getting reps in the meeting room without taxing their bodies. That's a big thing in the NFL. And it isn't at any level of football, but especially in the NFL, you learn, okay, you can only take so many reps of football practice before your body breaks down. So if you want to be good, you got to be able to get those mental reps. So those kind of conversations with the receivers, with the tight ends, all that stuff really, really matters. And CJ will learn in this offense, he's going to be integrally tied to the run game as well. So his conversations with the offensive line, the running backs, all of that stuff about the run game, it's key. And from what I've seen in OTAs, CJ is really, he's latching on to and listening to the lessons about exactly how precise he needs to be in the run game. It's not just the pass game. It's his footwork in the run game, his fakes in the run game and on play action and everything. It's a really, really big deal. And with Robert Woods, remember his first year with the Rams was Jared Goff's second year in the league, but it was the first year that Sean McVay was with the Rams. So he has seen, like Robert Woods has seen a young quarterback in Jared Goff learn this system, see exactly what it takes. And in that first year, I think Robert Woods he played 12 games and he had about 800 yards receiving. And then the next 2 years after that, he exploded. He had 1,200 yards and then 1,100 yards a year after that, with a still young quarterback in Jared Goff and a guy who was just learning that system. So it's not just Robert Woods being able to help as a veteran. It's Robert Woods having seen a younger quarterback kind of matriculate his way through the system. It's interesting too that Jared Goff was the guy that people compared CJ Stroud to. For better or for worse, I think that's something that Robert Woods has some experience with. I think with a guy that's got arm talent, isn't incredibly mobile, but mobile enough. And I get excited when we'll hear about a little bit from Robert Woods later on, but I'm still burned a little. I'm burned by the Brandon Cooks experience enough that it's hard for me to love a veteran wide receiver brought in because he knows the system and because maybe somebody likes him. It just feels too fresh. It's too fresh to forget the pain of the whole Brandon Cooks saga. So jumping into DeMeco wants everybody to calm the hell down.
The process with all our players is to come out and improve and get better each day. When the fall comes, that's when we'll talk about starters and who are the best 11 men to go out there to help us win games.
DeMeco so far is going to get a huge grace period when it comes to giving non-answers and giving the stiff arm. I think as long as he keeps his pleasant demeanor, then within football reason, he'll get testy at some point, I'm sure. But I think there's been kind of a strain of condescension between Bill O'Brien to an extreme degree when he first got here, and he acted like he was here to teach all the yokels about football, and then at the end when he was just disgusted with everything. But then I feel like even Lovie Smith at times would get a little bit condescending. David Culley was just a pleasant human being. I would never have poor David Culley. You would get frustrated for reasons that had nothing to do with attitude or anything like that. You wished maybe he would answer some questions more directly, but you also felt like you had to protect him a little bit, and you didn't want him to go there too much because he was in out of his element. So this has been a pleasant blend of competence and not talking down to people that I think people will continue to appreciate about DeMeco.